Right now, storms ripped through southern Wisconsin this afternoon. A look at the damage left behind and if more severe weather could be on the way.
And what we know tonight about how a cyber breach involving the city of Sun Prairie could affect you.
Plus a breakthrough in the case of an off-duty Racine officer shot and killed last week trying to stop an armed robbery as an arrest is made.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 10.
Thank you for joining us tonight. The big story continues to be the weather. We may see another round of rain overnight.
This just hours after a strong system rolled through this afternoon. We have team coverage tonight. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield keeping an eye on the radar, and Amy Reed getting a look at some of the damage from this afternoon's storm.
Let's start with Dave in the Weather Center with a look at our first alert forecast. Dave?
Yeah, that next round, Charlotte, of showers and storms is already building to our northwest. A severe thunderstorm warning just issued for right along the Minnesota-Wisconsin state line. You can see that orange box there. That line of showers and storms is going to stay to our north and west for at least the next couple of hours. But as we get into the overnight hours and early morning hours of Friday, that will continue to drop to the south and could impact southern Wisconsin with some more gusty winds and hail into the early morning hours of Friday. Madison on the WISC-TV Skycam definitely quieter than we were just a few hours ago. Mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures are hanging out in the upper 60s and low 70s. I think we're staying pretty consistent in temperature land overnight. Dew points, it is muggy and it will remain muggy overnight, and that could provide some fuel for those storms tomorrow morning. Your day planner as we head into tomorrow, temperatures will start out in the 70s. Again, we could see some showers and storms early tomorrow morning and then a potential another additional round of showers and storms by the afternoon and evening. We'll time everything out and talk about big heat and humidity this weekend in your first alert forecast in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Dave. Upwards of 10,000 people across southern Wisconsin were without power this afternoon.
And the storm also left behind a trail of broken and down trees when it passed through Sauk County. Amy Reed joins us now from Baraboo, where people will have to pick up the mess there. Amy?
This storm knocked down quite a few trees. You can see that there are down branches and twigs still all over this neighborhood. Back behind me, Alliant Energy crews right now are working to replace a power pole that was blown over in the gusts. We talked to people that live around here today, and they're just happy that everyone's okay. The hanging flower beds are put back where they belong, but that's about all that's returned to normal at the Warner's house. Marilyn Warner was just getting home.
Opened up the garage door, got in, and just like an instant, it was just like the wind was trying to suck me out of the garage. So I hung on to our door going into our kitchen.
Straight line winds gusting at 50 to 60 miles an hour, blowing neighborhood trees around and taking the one at the Warners down.
It sounded like a freight train. When I was in the garage, it actually sounded like a freight train. And the pressure was really strong because my ears were popping also.
Next door neighbor Eric Logan was trying to keep his furniture down when it happened.
And my daughter goes, "Dad, look at Rod," who's our next door neighbor, and I look over at him and his tree is on the roof.
He went over to check on them, and so did the Baraboo Fire Department, cutting the tree to pieces and getting it off the house. Then his son let him know he was needed back home.
So then when we came over here and looked, and there's the tree on our house. So it's like double whammy, you know.
The block is staying in relative good spirits, grateful that at least everyone is okay.
We love our neighbors, be neighborly, be nice, help out where you can.
But they'll remember this for a long time.
If the sky looks bad, take it seriously and run into the house or your basement. Be careful.
Now, earlier, thousands were without power because of this storm, but that has largely been restored. Now there are just a few more people in this area left to get their electricity back. And as you can see, crews are out there trying to make that happen. Back to you.
With the overnight rain, make sure you have the latest weather information with our Channel 3000 First Alert Weather and Traffic app. It includes our hourly forecast, 10-day forecast, weather alerts, and an interactive radar, all for free. A mother in the city of Beloit is begging for someone to help find her child. Police say the child's father beat her and then ran off with the baby.
It's been more than 24 hours since Ashley Floyd saw her 7-month-old, and now, along with police, she's trying to find the man responsible.
I just want my baby home. That's all I want. I don't care what happens to him. I just want my son. He's only 7 months old. I need my baby.
She said the boy's father, Jeb Sparks, allegedly beat her. Then he and his mother took off with the boy. Police say Sparks faces battery charges at a minimum, but the search to find him could be difficult.
We don't know where he's at. We believe he may be en route to, or he could be en route to another state, or he could be still local someplace.
Well, they say they do know Sparks is likely driving a black Mazda 6 that is missing the driver's side window and 2 rear windows. Despite this, they say the Department of Justice told them they cannot issue an Amber Alert because it does not meet the strict criteria.
A false alarm tonight on Crystal Lake in Columbia County. Rescue team searched for 2 hours after receiving a report that 2 kayaks may have capsized there. The Lodi Fire Chief said after hours of searching, the 2 kayakers approached them and let them know that the search was for them. They told first responders that after the kayak tipped, one of the boaters paddled to shore and the other swam. Police in Racine say an arrest has been made related to last week's shooting death of Officer John Hetland.
Suspect's in custody. He was picked up in Milwaukee. And the one thing I can share with you is that a short while ago he is wearing Officer Hetland's handcuffs. That's how he was taken to jail. And that part feels good.
Police have not released the name or a mugshot of the suspect at this time. Hetland's funeral and procession were held just yesterday. A reward of more than $78,000 was being offered for information leading to an arrest and prosecution in the case.
A Milwaukee father accused of fatally punching his 5-year-old son over a piece of cake is being held on a $100,000 cash bond. 29-year-old Travis Stackhouse faces 1 count of first-degree reckless homicide. Investigators say he was upset that his son had eaten his Father's Day cake, and that's why he punched him. An autopsy revealed the boy suffered blunt force trauma to the abdomen. The city of Sun Prairie is notifying potentially affected people after a data privacy breach. Gabriela Becerra shares more about the investigation.
In a press release, the city of Sun Prairie announced there was a data breach in March. After discovering suspicious activity with an employee's email account, the city launched an investigation with help from forensic experts. They found that there was unauthorized activity with some employees' emails accounts, and they say the city was unable to confirm what or if any information was accessed within these accounts. The city says they are notifying those with affected accounts. The Sun Prairie City Administrator declined an interview to answer further questions about this data breach. I spoke with community members who are worried about how easy it seems to be for a cyber breach to happen nowadays.
It's scary at, how much we're hearing it happening.
Michelle Novotny was unaware of the breach, and she says she thinks cyber crimes are on the rise.
And I don't think that we've kept up as fast as these crimes are happening, and it worries me.
The city of Sun Prairie says it is committed to protecting the confidentiality and security of all the information it holds, according to their press release. I'm Gabriela Becerra, News 3 Now.
And News 3 Now will continue to ask the city of Sun Prairie for more answers about this recent breach.
President Trump is meeting with the Japanese Prime Minister tonight, kicking off the G20 summit. The president is being accompanied by his daughter Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner. The president and Shinzo Abe, the Japanese Prime Minister, are set to have a bilateral meeting to discuss trade, military, and the purchase of military arms. In Miami tonight, the second Democratic presidential debate has just wrapped up. Like yesterday, 10 hopefuls answered questions for 2 hours on topics ranging from health care to the crisis at the border and the threats from Russia and China. In total, there are 24 Democratic candidates, so only 4 of them didn't make the cut to be in either debate.
In a 5-4 decision, the United States Supreme Court has ruled that the longtime practice of partisan gerrymandering cannot be decided by federal courts. The conservative justices arguing federal courts should not have a role in policing congressional or legislative districts drawn for partisan gain. So, for Wisconsin, this likely means a legal challenge to Republican-drawn legislative districts is now over. Democratic voters filed a federal lawsuit in Madison, this was back in 2015, arguing that boundaries drawn by GOP lawmakers in 2011 unfairly drew the maps, hindering Democrats' ability to be elected in the state of Wisconsin. A trial in that case is set for July. But the U.S. Supreme Court decision today could put an end to that lawsuit. Republican leaders say they hope the ruling ends that litigation. Democratic lawmakers say the ruling contradicts Democratic values.
Indeed, if the U.S. Supreme Court is saying there's not a role for federal courts in ensuring free and fair elections, which is a tragic decision, it's a bad decision, it doesn't comport with precedent, then it really does call into question the future of our Wisconsin case.
It appears to have shut down what's going on in the Western District of Wisconsin, and also I guess then there'll be questions about what would be the direct effect on cases moving forward, but we just got into it, so I don't want to say anything without having a full knowledge of the ruling.
The Fair Elections Project, which launched the Wisconsin case, also issued a statement today saying it is disappointed and people know now that partisan gerrymandering exists.
Governor Tony Evers did not comment on his plans for the budget today during an event in Beaver Dam. The governor stopped at a library there to read to local kids this afternoon. This week, the state Senate and Assembly approved the budget proposal. Governor Evers can now sign it into law, veto, or use his partial veto powers to revise it to make it more accommodating to Democrats. Still ahead, tonight at 10, state lawmakers introduce a resolution to celebrate some of the best athletes in the world.
Plus, the UW following suit, raising the pride flag over its student unions. We'll have more on that story just ahead on News 3 now at 10. The UW-Madison joined other UW campuses flying the pride flag raised at each student union this morning to show UW's inclusion of all students. According to Wisconsin Union Deputy Director, UW follows in the footsteps of Governor Evers, who raised the pride flag over the state capitol building earlier this month. A bipartisan group of lawmakers from Milwaukee and Green Bay is proposing a Most Valuable Player Week. It's to honor Christian Yelich, Giannis Antetokounmpo and Aaron Rodgers. The group introduced a resolution today that would designate the first week of December of this year as MVP week in Wisconsin. The lawmakers selected that week because Rodgers' birthday is December 2nd, Yelich's birthday is December 5th, and Giannis's birthday is December 6th.
Bucks legend Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is helping design hats that'll be given away to the first 10,000 fans during select home games next season. Last year, Desmond Mason and Dante DiVincenzo designed hats along with a student artist. College students 18 years old and older can email their designs to promotions@bucks.com beginning July 14th. The city of Madison will be hosting several community meetings next month, gathering input about dog policies in the city's public parks. Currently, the majority of the parks do not allow dogs, and the city wants to know if it should revamp that ordinance. Those meetings will be held through July. Here are all of those dates and locations. The city says it recognizes the existing policy is outdated and needs to be revisited.
Meteorologist Dave Caulfield joining us now. Had a busy day in the weather office today and still keeping an eye on some precipitation moving into the state from Minnesota, right?
Yeah, round one ended earlier this evening. Round two already starting to form to our north and west. So it never ends when we have this much heat and humidity in the forecast. So high resolution Doppler showing that severe thunderstorm warning really on the border of Minnesota and Wisconsin, southwest of Eau Claire. And that warning goes until 10:30. So the threats that we were mainly looking at this afternoon and evening were some strong wind gusts. Right now, we're watching some hail form just southeast of Red Wing with these storms. Now, I think initially these storms are going to follow basically an east-west track, so that really keeps them out of southern Wisconsin for quite some time. You can see the distance from Madison to where those storms are taking place. However, as we get into the overnight hours, as our low-level jet starts to strengthen a little bit, the path of those showers and storms will take more of a southeasterly track and could impact southern Wisconsin by the time we get to the morning commute for Friday. Look at all these severe weather reports over the past 24 hours. Every dot that you see there, especially the orange dots, that is tree damage. So downed trees and branches. Also, we have been dealing with power lines being down as well. Luckily, a lot of that has been repaired already. So the severe weather overnight, we have a marginal risk from the severe storm prediction center, that is, and another marginal risk for severe weather into tomorrow. It really doesn't take much when we have this much heat and humidity built up to cause those severe showers and storms and cause views like this in La Crosse. Here's that picturesque shelf cloud as it crossed from Minnesota into Wisconsin early this afternoon. Ryan, thank you for sending this in. And I was talking about that tree damage. Lots of trees down across southern Wisconsin, like in DeForest. Cassie sends in this photo of a tree falling on a roof for a house there. So hopefully everybody okay there. And we could be dealing with more severe weather as we head into the overnight hours and for portions of Friday. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. In Madison, pretty quiet right now, mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures are in the 60s currently, but we actually made it close to 90. And then once that gust front or that shelf cloud came through, brought that rain-cooled air, cooled us down about 20 degrees in a matter of an hour in some spots. So right now, I mentioned upper 60s in Madison, close to 70 in Platteville, and in Monroe, 63, a little bit cooler in Waukesha. I think that's where these temperatures are going to stay overnight until we get that rain to come through portions of southern Wisconsin tomorrow morning. Wind speed's not a concern right now. They definitely were earlier on, with wind gusts of about 50 to 65 miles per hour reported across southern Wisconsin earlier today. For tonight into the overnight hours, we're still muggy with some thunderstorms possible. Some of them could be severe once again, especially into tomorrow morning. And then for Friday, very warm and humid, scattered showers and thunderstorms, highs in the upper 80s once again. So on future track, we see things staying pretty quiet, and this is our latest forecast model run here. Things staying pretty quiet until we get to tomorrow morning, and this model run takes this first round of showers and storms a little bit farther north than previous runs. It's tough to tell exactly where that track will set up, so we'll be ready for showers and storms tomorrow morning, especially as we're heading out to work. And then as we get into Friday afternoon, we should see a break as that first round moves out, but then another round of showers and storms. So I guess this is round 3 over the past couple days or so. We'll move through southern Wisconsin. That could provide some gusty winds and hail, as well as some frequent lightning and heavy downpours. After that moves out for Saturday, an isolated shower or storm can't be ruled out when you have this much heat and humidity. However, I think the bigger story is the big heat and humidity building in for this weekend. Lots of outdoor plans, including Shake the Lake on Saturday. We'll have to deal with high heat and humidity with temperatures near 90, heat index values in the mid to upper 90s. Some of us could be feeling like the triple digits as we head into Saturday and Sunday. Monday, very warm as well. A 3-day stretch of 90-degree temperatures, and then slightly cooler, not by much, as we get into next week with better shower and thunderstorm chances by Tuesday and Wednesday. It does look like most of us will stay dry for the 4th of July, though, so that's good news.
That's a summer forecast.
Yes.
Right.
Classic.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Steve Stricker, Jerry Kelly, keep their momentum going. It's the first round of the United States Senior Open from South Bend. The story coming up in sports.
The last we saw of Steve Stricker, his putt at the playoff of the American Family Insurance Championship was rimming out, and he wasn't happy about it. Today, after the first round of the U.S. Senior Open in South Bend, Indiana, Stricker's in a much better mood. That's because it was all working for him at Notre Dame's Warren course. Look at how straight Stricker hits those irons. And when it's going where you want it to, the results are pretty good, like that. And those putts he missed at the end of the AmFam Sunday, well, today's back to his old self. He makes everything, including this eagle putt on 17 that ties Stricker for the lead at 8 under par. He knew from the morning scores he needed to go low in the afternoon.
I saw some good scores out there, so I figured, you know what, it must be gettable. You know, I mean, there's some good ones out there. So, but still, we're at a U.S. Open type setup, and you still have to take care of the ball and hit it in play and put it in the fairway and put it on the right spot on the greens. And I hit the ball probably as best as I have this year, and consistently all the way around. So it was a good day.
And oh, by the way, AmFam champion Jerry Kelly nearly matched Stricker's round. Kelly's irons were on spot too. This one sets up another birdie as Kelly climbs the leaderboard, and putting, well, this looks like a lot like the one that won the playoff at University Ridge on Sunday. Kelly and Stricker both right there after the first round of the U.S. Senior Open. So it's Stricker and David Toms tied for first with 8 under par 62s. Kelly leads the group tied at 6 under 64 in third. Madison's Jim Schumann shot 3 over par today, but Stricker and Kelly off to great starts at the U.S. Senior Open. Christian Yelich was the leading vote getter in the National League in the All-Star Starters fan vote. He'll start in the outfield in the All-Star game in Cleveland July 9th. The rest of the All-Star rosters will be announced Sunday. Brewers finally figured out how to beat the Seattle Mariners today at Miller Park. Boy, look at Orlando Arcia, 3-run homer. He was the Brewers' number 9 hitter in the lineup, but he came through and helped Chase Anderson to the lead, and then Josh Hader closed it for his 19th save. Brewers beat Seattle 4-2. The Pittsburgh Pirates are at Miller Park starting tomorrow night. It was a wild one at Wrigley Field between the Cubs and Braves. Cubs down 6-1, but they rallied for the win. Victor Caratini hit that go-ahead homer. And then in to close it for the Cubs, Craig Kimbrell. The Cubs keep pace with the Brewers, beating Atlanta 9-7. Cubs, though, still have a 1-game lead in the Central Division. The latest inductee into the UW Athletic Hall of Fame is a very popular choice indeed. Otto Pulls. He's 86 years old now, but he's as vibrant as ever. This will be the 6th Hall of Fame induction for Otto, who started his days at the UW on the baseball team in 1953. He's been the official scorer for Badger basketball since 1964, and more importantly, he's been married to his lovely wife, Barb, for 64 years. Otto Pulls into the UW Athletic Hall of Fame. The Women's World Cup resumes today in France. Norway and England play in the quarterfinals, and this one's no contest. Jill Scott, Ellen White, and Lucy Bronze get the goals. England wins 3-0 over Norway. The United States plays France in their big match tomorrow afternoon at 2 Madison time, and we'll be right back.
Dave's here with the final check of your forecast.
That overnight round of showers and storms building to our northwest. Severe thunderstorm warnings across portions of Minnesota and Wisconsin. That line going to stay northwest for a while, but it's going to start to move a little bit closer to us during the overnight hours. And by early tomorrow morning, some of us could be dealing with showers and storms. Big heat by this weekend.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 10.
Do something good, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.